Ken Parker, an iconic luthier who brought revolutionary innovation to guitar design and craftsmanship, has passed away on October 5, 2025 at the age of 73. Born on Long Island, New York in 1952 to a family of modest means, Parker first gained recognition in the 1970s and quickly became one of the world's leading visionaries in instrument building. He won acclaim for his pioneering archtop guitars with adjustable necks and unique sound holes, where he displayed both engineering brilliance and a commitment to playability. By the 1990s, his career was in full stride, highlighted by the launch of Parker guitars and the iconic Parker Fly electric guitar, 1993, designs that secured his place among the era's greatest innovators. Parker earned widespread admiration from musicians like Adrian Belew and Joni Mitchell, as well as lifetime tributes, including features in Guitar World and a devoted following of custom orders from his Massachusetts shop. These accolades reflected his influence on both boutique luthiery and modern electric guitar technology. Beyond the workbench, he was known for his strong advocacy of sustainable materials and accessibility in music, often lending his voice to causes that extended far beyond the strings. Audiences and colleagues alike admired his ingenuity, humility, and relentless curiosity. Ken Parker's legacy endures through his instruments, his prototypes, and his lifelong commitment to redefining the guitar's potential. Comment 73, his age, or write R.I.P. Ken Parker in tribute to a man whose hands helped shape the sound of generations. And B. Walker, an iconic journalist who brought pioneering voices to black media and broadcasting in Ohio, has passed away on October 5, 2025 at the age of 101. Born in Columbus in 1923 to a resilient family, Walker first gained recognition in the late 1940s and quickly became one of the Midwest's brightest trailblazers. She won acclaim for her columns at the Ohio Sentinel, 1949, and her radio hosting on WVKO's and Walker Show in the 1950s, where she displayed both sharp insight and community advocacy. By the 1970s, her career was in full stride, highlighted by her groundbreaking coverage of the Ohio legislature for NBC4 and interviews with Martin Luther King Jr., Angela Davis, and Jimmy Carter, roles that secured her place among the era's greatest communicators. Walker earned induction into the Ohio Women's Hall of Fame in 1978, as well as lifetime honors, including a presidential appointment by Jimmy Carter and tributes from the Columbus Hall of Fame. These accolades reflected her influence on both journalism and civil rights. Beyond the airwaves, she was known for her strong advocacy of consumer protection and youth empowerment, often lending her voice to causes that extended far beyond the studio. Audiences and colleagues alike admired her eloquence, independence, and resilience. And B. Walker's legacy endures through her stories, her ments, and her lifelong commitment to truth and justice. Comment 101, her age, or write R.I.P. and B. Walker in tribute to a woman whose words helped define American media. Sidney D. Kirkpatrick, an iconic author and filmmaker who brought hidden histories and unsolved mysteries to vivid life, has passed away on September 24, 2025 at the age of 70. Born in Stony Brook, New York in 1955 to a family steeped in publishing, Kirkpatrick first gained recognition in the 1980s and quickly became one of nonfiction's most daring investigators. He won acclaim for his groundbreaking A Cast of Killers, 1986, where he displayed meticulous sleuthing and narrative flair, unearthing King Vidor's secret probe into the 1922 William Desmond Taylor murder. By the 1990s, his career was in full stride, highlighted by Lords of Sippin 1990, On Peruvian Tomb Raiders and Edgar Cayce, An American Prophet 2000, works that secured his place among the era's greatest chroniclers. Kirkpatrick earned New York Times bestseller status, as well as lifetime honors, including features in The New Yorker and Time, plus Emmy-adjacent acclaim for documentaries like The Indomitable Teddy Roosevelt. These accolades reflected his influence on both historical true crime and metaphysical inquiry. Beyond the page, he was known for his strong advocacy of archival preservation and ethical storytelling, often lending his voice to causes that extended far beyond the archives. Audiences and colleagues alike admired his curiosity, tenacity, and wry humor. Sidney D. Kirkpatrick's legacy endures through his books, his films, and his lifelong commitment to truth's elusive edges. Comment 70, his age, or write R.I.P. Sidney D. Kirkpatrick in tribute to a man whose revelations helped define the art of discovery. Sarah Jane Moore, an infamous activist who brought radical fervor to the turbulent politics of the 1970s, has passed away on September 24, 2025 at the age of 95. Born Sarah Jane Kahn in Charleston, West Virginia in 1930 to a Jewish family, Moore first gained recognition in the early 1970s and quickly became entangled in revolutionary circles. She won notoriety for her failed assassination attempt on President Gerald Ford in San Francisco on September 22, 1975, where she fired a revolver from 40 feet away, missing due to a faulty sight and a bystander's deflection, in a bid to spark a leftist uprising. By the mid-1970s, her notoriety was in full stride, highlighted by her guilty plea to attempted assassination and a life sentence, efforts that secured her place among the era's most polarizing figures. Moore earned parole after 32 years in 2007, as well as lifetime scrutiny, including a 2019 arrest for a parole violation over an unreported trip abroad. These chapters reflected her influence on both counterculture history and presidential security debates. Beyond prison, she was known for her strong advocacy of anti-war causes and personal redemption, often lending her voice to reflections on regret and revolution in interviews. Audiences and observers alike admired her complexity, resilience, and unfiltered candor. Sarah Jane Moore's legacy endures through her story, her survival, and her lifelong commitment to challenging the status quo. Comment 95, her age, or right R.I.P. Sarah Jane Moore in tribute to a woman whose shot helped define an era's unrest. Assata Shakur, an iconic black liberation activist who brought fierce defiance and revolutionary spirit to the fight against racial injustice, has passed away on September 25, 2025 at the age of 78. Born Joan Deborah Byron in Flushing, Queens in 1947 to a working-class family, Shakur first gained recognition in the late 1960s and quickly became one of the era's most audacious voices for freedom. She won acclaim for her bold activism with the Black Panther Party and Black Liberation Army, where she displayed unyielding courage and sharp intellect amid FBI surveillance and raids. By the mid-1970s, her notoriety was in full stride, highlighted by her controversial 1977 conviction for the 1973 shooting death of New Jersey State Trooper Werner Forster and her daring 1979 escape from prison, acts that secured her place among the era's most polarizing revolutionaries. Shakur earned enduring reverence from supporters through her autobiography Assata, 1987, and as godmother to Tupac Shakur, as well as lifetime infamy, including FBI Most Wanted status in 2013 with a $2 million bounty. These chapters reflected her influence on both black radicalism and debates over justice and exile. Beyond the shadows of pursuit, she was known for her strong advocacy of self-determination and global solidarity, often lending her voice to causes that extended far beyond the underground. Supporters and critics alike admired her resilience, eloquence, and unbreakable will. Assata Shakur's legacy endures through her writings, her survival, and her lifelong commitment to liberation. Comment 78, her age, or right R.I.P. Assata Shakur in tribute to a woman whose struggle helped define black resistance forever. Lawrence Moten, an iconic guard who brought smooth scoring and quiet leadership to Syracuse basketball and the NBA, has passed away on September 30, 2025 at the age of 53. Born in Washington, D.C. in 1972 to a dedicated family, Moten first gained recognition in the early 1990s and quickly became one of the Big East's premier talents. He won acclaim for his prolific play at Syracuse from 1991 to 1995, where he displayed effortless efficiency and poise, amassing 2,334 points as the program's all-time leading scorer and 1,405 in conference play, a record that stood until 2020. By the mid-1990s, his career was in full stride, highlighted by his second-round selection in the 1995 NBA draft by the Vancouver Grizzlies and stints with the Washington Wizards, roles that secured his place among the era's most underrated performers. Moten earned All-American honors, a retired number 21 jersey at Syracuse in 2018, as well as lifetime tributes from Hall of Famer Jim Boeheim, who called him one of the conference's best. These accolades reflected his influence on both college hoops and professional grit. Beyond the court, he was known for his strong advocacy of youth development and community mentoring, often lending his voice to causes that extended far beyond the game. Audiences and colleagues alike admired his humility, resilience, and infectious calm. Lawrence Moten's legacy endures through his records, his ments, and his lifelong commitment to the sport's soul. Comment 53, his age, or write R.I.P. Lawrence Moten in tribute to a man whose poetry helped define basketball excellence.